Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. It is just before afternoon. Hello. And it is Wassy Wednesday. I am in between trips right now, in between a lot of summer travel. But today I'm going to be talking about read like a Carnivalista. So I want all of my readers, if you are coming in, come in, come in, come in, come in. If you read anything and if even just one book has completely changed your life, then I want to hear from you. I want you to comment below what the name of that book is and why did it change your life, or just let me know the name of the book. I've probably read it. So anyway, who am I? It's your girl Esha here, Carnivalista in Chief of the Carnivalista Lifestyle. And I am a crazy avid reader. I've probably read thousands of books in my lifetime. And there are a handful of them. I would probably say between 10 to 20 of those thousands of books that I've read that have had a real impact. And I'm a part of a book club. I've been a part of a book club at various times in my life, but I am a part of another book club in this season of life. And, more recently, of course, I did my author spotlight last week. I am an author. I'm also an avid reader myself. And I thought, let me share some other books, because reading and understanding and applying that learning is such a big part of my life. And it's a big part of the trajectory that my life has taken, the way that my life has changed from being a child to a teenager to a young woman to being an older woman now and a mom. So yeah, I did think it was a good thing. I thought it would be interesting. I hope you all think that it's interesting too. And you are reading things that you would like to share with me. And yeah, we're going to do 4 weeks of this. And I'm so excited because, again, love, 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 love books. All right, so here's what I want you to do. First of all, tell me hi. Tell me you're watching. Say what's up. Second of all, definitely put in the comments one book that you have read that has changed your life. Hey, it's one of them is definitely the Bible, right? We've all read the Bible. So put that, if it's the Bible, big up God in the comments. All right. So yes, let us dive in here. Oh, and I almost forgot to say, if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments. All right. So 2 things that I'm going to highlight over the next 4 weeks. And it's really hard for me to narrow down just 4 books. I may cheat a little bit. It might be 2 books in 1 week, just because there's so many books that I've read that have had a really big impact. I was thinking of narrowing it down to like the last 10 years, but there's some books that are so fundamental, I definitely could not even say, within the last 10 years. And this is one of them that I'm going to share with you today. So 2 things I'm going to share from each book, or books that I'm going to be sharing each week. Why you should read this book, first and foremost. And secondly, my biggest takeaway and the impact that it had on my life. And I thought those 2 questions, or 2 tidbits of information about the book, I was thinking about, like, okay, how can I give a Cole's Notes version of why these people should, pick up a copy of this book, or even a copy of an audiobook. If you're like me, life is too crazy, and the only time you can get to absorb any kind of information is driving from destination to destination. I usually do audiobooks these days. However, the books that even I've listened to an audiobook that have had an impact, and it's information that I want to dig deeper into, I have picked up a hard copy, or I've gotten it on Kindle so I could, go through and either do the exercises, do some journaling, or something like that. And those are only books that have really, 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 really impacted me, that I really wanted to go a little bit deeper. So anyway, let us get into today's book. And should I do a little drum roll? Maybe we should do a little drum roll. All right. Here we go. The first book is In the Meantime. And let me just make sure you can see that here. Finding Yourself and the Love You Want by Iyanla Vanzant. And this, an oldie but a goodie picture on the back here, because this is one of, I bought this probably about a few months after it came out, way back. Let's see, when was this one published? I don't even remember, but I read it in my 20s, so it's a good 20 odd years ago. So it was published 1998. Oh yeah, like that was a while ago, right? That was a minute. So Yeah, this picture of Iyanla really says it all. It's definitely a younger Iyanla here in this picture. And this was one of her first big books that did really well and landed her as a best-selling author. I think this book was pre-Oprah as well, because as you all may or may not know, actually it was that long ago, Iyanla, when she had her first appearance on the Oprah show, as many people who appeared on Oprah's show at that time, you know, things just really started taking off for her. So anyway, this is the book. So why should you get this book? Or why should you read this book? You should read this book if you are wanting to change the emotional habits in your life. And what I mean by emotional habits, if you are stuck in a cycle of taking a certain action, or someone taking a certain action against you, as if you feel it was against you, you responding in a certain way, and the cycle just continues as a vicious cycle. If there's a continuous cycle of emotional responses that you would like to change, this book is the book for you. If you would like to go a little bit deeper, if you are on a journey already of how you react to things, or how you react to situations in your life, if you want to start that journey, if you are tired of being tired and you're wondering why emotionally you react in certain ways, this book is a really great book to get. And it definitely goes a lot deeper into finding yourself, into how to change your behavior, or change your reaction, or change your emotional response to things. It goes quite a bit into that. And in a way that is not preachy, in a way that is very approachable, not using really big words, or it's not too woo-woo. You know, some people like to say woo-woo, where it's too spiritual, or it's too conceptual. It gives the advice, the book gives the advice, or I should say Iyanla gives the advice in ways that are very, very approachable, very, very practical, I guess is the way. And also the way that she phrases the concepts and of emotional evolution, of the way that you change the way you think, change the way you act, change the way you feel, and change the way that you react. She puts it in concepts that are very, very easy to understand, because she uses the analogy of a house. So you have a basement in the house, you have the first floor, you have the second floor, you have the attic. And she uses that analogy to align, or to illustrate what where you are on your emotional journey, where you are in terms of your relationships. And that was really the first time I had ever read about anything like that, thought about anything like that, or even became more aware of my own role in the relationships that I was in. You know, I was in the basement, according to Iyanla, which wasn't a nice thing to read, by the way. However, you know, reading it and really understanding what that meant, and my role in relationships, the relationships that were in my life, romantic, non-romantic, family, friends, all of that, it really helped me to think it through and change it. So again, highly, highly recommend this book, and that's why you should get the book. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk through was what was my biggest takeaway in the book, and the impact that I had on my life. And this book here, this book has had a huge, massive impact on my life. And that this is one of the books that I was like, I cannot talk about books that changed my life without mentioning this, because it started me on a journey of finding myself, loving myself, and also finding the love that I wanted from others, not just, you know, romantic love from a partner, but also the love that I wanted from my friendship circle, the love that I wanted from my family, the love that I wanted for myself to give to the world. So it really started me on that journey. So my biggest takeaway was taking accountability for my actions. As I said, Iyanla gives this whole analogy of being in a house, and your emotional response, the way that you show up in relationships, corresponds to a room in a house or a level in a house. And as I said to you before, I was definitely in the basement. So when you're in the basement, you're very reactive. Um, you blame everybody else for everything except for, and you don't take responsibility or accountability for your own actions. So that is definitely where I was in, according to Iyanla, in the meantime. And the biggest takeaway that I had was taking accountability and responsibility for my actions and my role in what was existing in my life at the time. At that time, I wasn't in healthy relationships. I was in relationships that had no boundaries, like absolutely none. Doing everything for everybody, having people who did not respect me, who did not understand me, or even take the time to understand me. But I called them friends. They were my friends, and we were doing this together, we were doing that together. But it wasn't anything that there weren't any relationships that really fed my soul. I wasn't in any relationships that really nourished me and really enriched my life. I think that's a better way to say that. And yeah, I would be in that phase where, if a friend did something, a friend, to use that term very loosely back then, but a friend, did something and I reacted in a very unkind way, I would blame it on them. Well, it was her fault that she did blah, 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 and that's why I reacted. Instead of, and then I learned through the book that every action will give an opposite reaction, but you can control your reaction. And you can also control who you share your energy and your time with. And that was a very, very new concept for me at that time in my 20s, or late teens, early 20s. Because, I pretty much accepted everybody who was in my life as they were there and they were worthy. But not everybody is worthy of your time and your energy and your effort and your love. And you pour continuously into them and not that you should get a reward. However, you should get appreciation and you should accept some kind of support from them, because they are a part of your inner circle. And your inner circle, there was a saying that I heard in another book not too long ago, that you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You spend the most time and energy with. So those 5 people, those are your inner circle, pretty much. And your thoughts, words, feelings, reactions usually are a summary of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And back then, 20 odd years ago, 26 years ago, the 5 people that I spent the most time with were very negative, meaning negative energy, would talk badly about, either mutual people who we knew. There just wasn't anything positive to say about anyone. Many of them felt financially that because I was the one who was working at that time or working a good job or whatever, that it was my obligation to lend them money, give them money, or, time, or just do things for them without holding them accountable for their actions. And that's just where I was at that time. Good, wrong, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? And I think Iyanla was really one of the first authors that I read who encouraged you to give yourself grace and not beat yourself up for having these people in your life. Because, people show up in your life for a reason. And at that point, I had those people around me that were a reflection of what was already happening within me, and what energy I was putting out into the world, and what I was manifesting all on my own, not even with the 5, closest people around me, but the 5 closest people around me were a result of that, and they were a reflection of that. Yeah, and so coming out of the basement, Iyanla gives you a lot of encouragement in the book along the way of how to do that, how to detach yourself from folks who are not in the healthiest of relationships for you. And again, it was the first book that I'd read at that time, that really, really helped me through that period in my life. And the impact was massive. as you know, my own thoughts started to change and I started taking accountability for my own life, for my own actions. Of course, a lot of prayer, a lot of grace. Slowly that began to change. You know, I began spending less and less time with those people. I didn't cut them out completely, and that is an option. You can do that if you like. However, you know, I just started spending less and less time with those people, started taking less and less advice from those people. And, you know, those relationships eventually faded into the background, and then they made room for more positive relationships to come into my life. Like I met my first really big career mentor after, you know, phasing out some of these negative, you know, people and thoughts. I also started advancing in my career at that time, you know, because all of the negative energy was kind of, it was like peeling back layers at that point. You know, the layers were falling away, negative energy was falling away, and more positive things were being attracted into my life. I started doing more journaling, started writing down my affirmations. Like that was the first time that I'd ever done affirmations in my entire life up to that point. So yeah, the impact was so huge. It really started me on my self-love journey, started me on my self-help journey. I started to travel more at that time. And of course, you know, as a Carnivalista, was going to different Caribbean carnivals around throughout the Caribbean and throughout North America as well. So it really kick-started my journey on getting to where I am today. So yeah, that's it. So if you have read this book, definitely leave a comment. Or if you haven't read this book, then leave a comment and let me know one book that changed your life, because I definitely want to know. And as I said, this will be a 4-week series, so this is only week 1. 3 more weeks to go. I may cheat a little bit and put 2 books in one video. I will try not to cheat. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you would like to get some more in terms of, where are we here? Get some more free content, that's what I meant to say, then you definitely need to visit my website. I do have a free download, and it's a free training and checklist of 3 keys to living a life of more. And it is a lot of more information that I learned, of course, reading many of these books for sure. But also, and I'm going to put a comment in the chat here, also from based on my life lessons and what those 3 keys are. You know, if you want more in your life, then the training and the checklist is definitely going to help out. So I put the link in the comments. And yes, that's it for me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. And as always, hugging you up. I'll see you next week.